Okay. Hi. All right, today is December 13th, 2012, and Ryan's Wisdom Energy is going to be talking to us about the law of polarity. This law states that everything is a continuum and has an opposite. We can suppress and transform undesirable thoughts by concentrating on the opposite pole. This is the law of mental vibrations.
Greetings. Greetings.
Hello. We're back.
The law of polarization is an interesting law, for you understand this quite well in this plane of reality already. It is much of what is based on many of your aspects in your daily life. And we'll take a moment here to talk about this. If you were to look at a magnet, the keeper has one in his pocket now, for he uses it to put his knives on his pants. But we will explain this very interestingly. As you would see, there is two different poles. If you were to take this magnet and stick it underneath a table and put filings over it, you will see, yes, there is an apple shaped, a rounded shape, and that shape is much of the shape that is around much of energy fields. And if you sprinkle enough down, you would see that there is a multiple polarity here. It is all not following one strictly on one end and the other. It is all over. And it is also these loops that you see are nested. It is an energy that is nested within each other. So you have smaller and you have larger and larger energy grids. Now, the further out you go, the less of an impact it has. It is the same with the life forms that are here now. Your energy of what you are, your own personal black hole, as you may say, your heart, this great magnetism that you have that is a natural portal part of your life, is happening. It is what we called in previous times tube torus. And as these nested energies are moving out, you have a debris field, just as the galaxy is, and as it turns in the bit of the same way that you are. You turn at will this tube torus. And so you are also harmonizing with this energy that you have within yourself to be a part of integrating with other humans. And you are creating the other creators. So, we would just like to say there is a natural poles that are here. Here on Earth, you see these poles. And what major shift that is occurring now is what is sacred and what is divine. Now it is beginning to shift from sacred and divine, it is now starting to shift. And what is important in this particular period of time is beginning to shine forward a little bit more in daily lives. And this is a part of who you are in this process of your evolution. And what we would like you to see is not just that there is a polarization here, but the whole spread, a triality. So you are looking, zooming out of your situation to see the whole parts of where all the filings of this iron would be falling. Of all the truth of what it is that you are looking at in your situations of life. This is the reality, because you have been playing much more on the polarization side. It is much why your governments are having a hard time coming to agreements, for they are on the very fringes, at the very ends of the polarization that has taken place here. And much is hard to come to certain agreements when there is very, very polarized sides of things, whereas if you see and interpret all of what is there, you'll have a much bigger picture. You'll have a much more clarity about the whole situation. And that is what we would like you to see. And to kind of come more away, in a sense, to see another side of things. Rediscover yourself in this way. Does anybody have any questions?
So living on the fringes of that polarization, is that an easier place to open up to understand the polarization? Would it work to create a paradigm or would creating a paradigm enclose you? I don't know if you understand what I'm.
Well, we would like to say, when we said fringes before, we were talking about the very tips of the ends of the very top of the poles. So you have one that is very strongly in one direction, and then you have another that is strongly in the opposite direction. Now, this must be, for there is an energy that is being created, especially at the tops of these poles, as you would have in a galaxy, as it takes and transforms and recreates the debris that is there. It is transmuting this energy that is happening. And to be only that is only seeing part of the picture. We would like you to see all of what is there. So it would be taking in all the aspects of that particular energy field, whether it is a galaxy or it is your own personal energy field. It is taking in all the aspects at once. And so we would say the same thing. Now, would that put you in a new paradigm? Yes, it would. It would put you in a paradigm where you don't quite see one issue one-sided as much. You would see both sides in a very equal sense. And you would also see the gray, the smaller fields that are within, in a scale we are talking about here. You would see the color of all of it is. So if you have a black and a white sort of scenario, you would see all of the spectrum in between of what that would be. So you are seeing now, yes, you are seeing a new paradigm, you are seeing a new side of things, but you could, if you stayed on one side of this polarization, you stop expanding. You see, you are denying another part of yourself, and it is all part of itself. And so, if you were to take a energy field, such as a life form, a life force, you are not expanding when you are in a more compressed area of a way of looking at things. So when you stop shutting down and you feel that you have a complete understanding of what it is on one side of an issue and not truly integrating the other side in the most fullest way, then this stops what you could becoming of understanding both sides of yourself in this sense. It is yourself because you are connected in so many great ways to the situation as it is a reflection. And so you are understanding on many different levels of what this is to you.
So basically what you were saying, if I understand it too, is with a greater expanded conscious awareness, we create a much bigger paradigm where we actually understand polarity and we don't stand at one end. We're more open.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So would you see, for example, the juxtaposition of Great Spirit and Earth Mother energies as kind of the two poles?
We would see the Earth Spirit as two poles. the great spirit of all that there is, the great spirit, the underlying energy that is significantly within all particles and things, that is going to be another underlining thing for it. If you were to take this, for instance, and we break this down in a much deeper sense, look at atoms and the way that they are, and it is hard to understand it maybe from this perspective, but in the smaller microscopic way of things, it works much the same. You have a polarization, and they all act as much of a connection to all that there is. The earth plane has its own polarization, of course. The sun as well. You are in this infrastructure of your own galaxy and the polarization that is happening there. You are a part of many different polarizations, many different systems, bodies that are all in this underlining of what it is that issues are, what it is that you are, this reality and the constructs of it is, and how it is in this particular timeline, or what it might be. You have different aspects that are happening simultaneously. But to take it back into more simple form, you take yourself.
Thank you.
So, are we multiple different polarities all combined?
You are, yes, a multiple structure. Many different polarities are happening at a time. Each of your organs have their own polarity. If you notice, for instance, you take your heart as a very interesting one. You see there are 4 compartments of it. And you can see that there is a top, there is a bottom. It is a lined up structure that you have within yourself to help process what it is that you feel, these emotions, the field of energy that you are in, and understanding yourself in this sort of way. Each organ has the same sort of scenarios happening. You have polarization happening throughout your whole body form. And you can feel this, you can play with this, you can tap into this, you can make a game of this. If you, for instance, were to be in a room and you are not quite getting along with somebody, for instance, do try to see if you can harmonize with this. And it can be not just this, it can be with music and rhythms. It's a natural way for you to be able to express yourself in this sort of way. You can harmonize much of who you are by simply transforming this tube torus energy of what it is you have, and just simply imagining that this will work will naturally help you align to what it is that you want to be congruent with, and see a better mesh, a harmony going on. So that's one way you can go and approach this. You can play with it in different ways, different rhythms. Even annoying music, you can create a better harmony with that simply using these forms of energy. And yes, this is a form of energy that your scientists are learning how to harness more of the energy from. It will be in much of the constructs of what will be to come in terms of free energy sort of situations that are happening, that are available now.
Yeah, that's the basic idea with Felicity, is that we've got a torus and we've got basically a receive and transmit electrodes on each end, kind of pointing into the center of the torus. What about, from your perspective, I understand that one portal opened a day and a half ago, and it was explained to me that that's more of a personal portal for personal information coming in, and then there's another one on the 21st. From you guys' perspective, what do you see?
We see a great change already taking place here, and it is a collaboration of many, yes, different energies, as you have mentioned before, that is happening here. Again, this is somewhat of a man-made time, but it is a marcation of many things that are to come to be. There is a marking of an end of an old paradigms, and you will see more and more that the systems that you used to, that seem to have worked for a long time, are fading away. New constructs of how you even go about your basic things, looking at the things completely new, with a new set of eyes, as if you weren't seeing it before, creates a new kind of reality for you, and you're beginning to reprocess what is happening and what seems to now be working, as opposed to what is falling away and no longer quite needed. And this is part of the great step that humanity is beginning to make as they are on the graduation process to understanding and awakening within themselves new ideas, new creativity, and bringing upon themselves new processes, so that they are basically playing a much grander scheme. There's also multiple levels that are falling away at this time. There's been other conditions that have been placed upon this reality that is also falling away. And this has happened in the past, but you have the greatest opportunity of now in seeing how you are using technology now, opposed to other times where you have misused technology and it has been your demise. You are using technology in a great form to be able to spread your light. And so this is not to be something, technology is not to be something to be feared, but in the ways that you are using it, you're propelling yourself quite well in it.
Kind of like the internet, for example?
Kind of like, yes, the internet, the videos that are available, the freedom that this time era has arrived at, has brought new opportunities. And as long as much of those constructs remain open, and it brings much of the limitation that is naturally already losing its grip and its power on your physical way of being. And you are the ones that are unlocking this for yourselves. You are becoming the masters of how to transmute this and play this game quite differently. So you are done in some ways of playing the old paradigm, and you are beginning a new game.
It's good to see that happening. It's been a long time coming.
It is good.
The old paradigm, as in
processes,
being told what to think and how to, or what are you specifically thinking of when you say that?
We say it in many different forms, and that is, yes, old systems that you have been clinging on to for some time that has felt very strong and has been a current, a long time vibration that has been on this planet. For instance, we will mention that this is a time that energies are greatly changing. You are seeing more and more females walking into their power, and this shift is beginning to take place to where there is more of a leadership role from them. And there is a balancing that is taking place, a new shift that is occurring here. And it is not just in these sorts of ways, it is in multiple ways. Even how you argue, what you felt, in the processes that you have been taking place over and over and over, you are redesigning, recreating it. Maybe you can have a much shorter way of processing information, transmuting the energy of what it is that you would like to have as an outcome in a much faster pace. This is all speeding up, all compressing in itself. And so it takes many old systems that are falling away very quickly. And it doesn't matter which system you are looking at, you are going to see that many of them are going to simply transmute, fall away entirely, or you are recreating them as we speak. It is just a natural process. As consciousness is expanding, so do the ideas of what is possible. And you're naturally reaching for a more effective, a better word would be efficient solution to much of what it is that you would like to do. So, for instance, we will mention your passions, your dreams, what it is to live those things. Instead of creating a very hard-to-do list of things that eventually gets you somewhat close, you are compressing that time and trying to figure out what it is to be naturally living that in your daily part of your life, and what it means that your voice is important. This is the mastery of many of you, beginning to listen to your hearts, beginning to understand your own consciousness, and stepping into that power that you have naturally within yourselves, and being able to express it more freely. Express who you are, not be the stories that you always tell yourselves on a constant basis, but becoming a new you, recreating and designing you in the moment. And you are harnessing this sort of energy. You're bringing the more fullness of who and what it is that you have come to be in the now, in this now.
It's kind of interesting because, as I've noticed for myself and other people, friends, also notice this, that as we do that, it's really funny because we become more and more dysfunctional in the sense of the old way of planning the future far out and always thinking a lot about the past, and it's just getting a lot harder to even remember the past or plan very far in the future. It's almost like we're just almost being forced to just be in the present.
Yes.
I think we find ourselves not putting up as much resistance to change, and like you were speaking earlier, finding a way to work with things that we find to be a personal polarity. Instead of fighting it, instead of resisting it, finding a way to move with it and let that go in our own mind, saying, I hate that, or that is a complete opposite of who I am.
Yes, and that is what we see very often, is that sometimes you wonder why this is showing up in your reality. You don't like this person is not so nice, this is not such a great scenario that is happening, but because of who you are, it is a perfect match of vibration within what it is that you are within. So if you are having this, you must understand this is a vibration that it matches you. And even though it may be one that you do not quite like, it is somewhere in you that you are allowing this to happen. So if you are seeing this happening on an external basis in a constant time, know that you are a vibration to this. Instead of always trying to push against it and keep allowing this situation to reoccur, know and accept it entirely. For it is part of who you are, and know that there is some energy work that needs to be done with your internal workings of this particular scenario that is happening here. And so begin to embrace it. And also, we would say, use the tools that are available to you in all the different ways to change your vibration. And we will talk about vibration. For vibration is the emotions that you are putting off on a constant basis. It is hard to be angry and tell someone that you love you, I love you. And be in a different vibration of that, for there is a real feeling that is there. And until that feeling changes, then when you say those words, then those words become a more ringing true, because you are not speaking on this sound vibration only. You are speaking through many different forms of your own vibration that you're naturally putting off through your life force as we speak. The polarization, the tube torus energy that we are talking about here. So when you begin to change these vibrations within here, and we will go back to this situation, if you are understanding appreciation and allowing this and basking in this, baking in your appreciation modes, you are naturally attracting more and more of these vibrations that you would like to have over here. You're not ignoring what is happening here. And then you will also look at how you can begin to transmute the energy that is here. If it is something that you are struggling with, you are embracing. You are seeing that you are a perfect match to this vibration. But you are not going to give much of your energy into this vibration. It will start to decompose in a certain way. It will, from inactivity of what it is that you are giving your attention to, so that more and new vibrations. You must have new vibrations come in and fulfill this as be your forefront of what it is that you are replacing it with, because you cannot have this go away without something else coming in. This is part of how you can change and transmute your energy to be more on the level of what it is that you would want to be aligned with. So focusing that you are always over here brings more of where you are over here. If it's a bad situation, you are going to bring and be and step more into that reality. And this is part of the mirror that we are talking about here. Once you are beginning to be able to change your vibrations and adjust yourself. His keeper has had some of these questions himself in recent times. This is part of how to change much of your energy to create yourself new realities. And yes, it's hard to be able to harness this on a constant basis, but know that when you walk into this, you are changing your vibration. So here are some other ideas, tools if you'd like. When we talk about baking in your energy and appreciation, it may be helpful for you before you go to sleep to simply enjoy what it is that you are liking about your day. And when you wake up, give yourself some moments before you start your day of what it is that you would like to have happen in your day. That might create a better situation for you. And just imagine it. Just center yourself for a little bit. And that will begin to already, in those two small little moments, change the way your day is. Because you are within vibration while you are sleeping and rejuvenating yourself. And if you can just get on that bit of more of a step coming out of that, you'll be more of a vibration to the match that you would rather be. There are different ways you can go about this. These are just simple tools that you can be using. But to understand and embrace everything there is and not be so polarized to many of these ideas. That you are not this situation. When you are truly inside, you are a part of this situation. And this is harnessing and harmonizing what it is that you are, and to be able to see how you are able to change yourself into a new vibration, into a new reality where you are basking within the vibration that you would rather be. And we say vibration you would rather be, your vibration is joy. Your vibration is that passion that you would like to have in your life. That is the natural light that you are progressing towards. And that is the expansion that your soul desperately wants to have. Its consciousness of its understanding and awareness to everything, and to be able to move into that which brings it joy. So we're just wanting to speed this process along for you. It is not something we can do, but for you as a tool.
Well, we greatly appreciate what it was that you just said, because it is very important, because many of us don't understand how we keep attracting what we don't like. Even we don't understand the polarity that lives within us, I don't think. You explained it very, very nicely, and it is a difficult thing to keep attracting something that we don't agree with, that we don't like. And it's a very hard thing to understand that that is a mirror and that is part of who I am. And then it's even harder to embrace it. But the way that you explained it, I loved that, and I need to listen to that, because it was very eloquent. It was very powerful.
Yeah.
It was very, very powerful.
I have an analogy that I like to use. Is if you're a skier, you know that if you're skiing in the trees in the powder and you look at the trees, you'll hit them.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look at the clear space between the trees.
Yeah.
So you get what you look towards, or
Right.
focus your energy
Absolutely.
on, not what you want or don't want.
That's right.
It doesn't matter if you want it or don't want it.
Right.
What matters is what are you focused on.
What are we
So
focused on?
this
Yeah.
neighbor I used to have, she do that all the time. She's everything was a disaster, and it was. She just sucked that all into her.
Yeah.
She was always getting it.
Well, same thing with riding a motorcycle. You know, if
Oh,
you're on the trail and you're looking at things you don't want,
Right.
where you don't
You're
want to
gonna
be,
hit 'em.
that's where you're
Well,
going
and
to be.
they just explained that so well, and
They did,
I mean,
yeah.
for an exercise like we've been asking, you laid it out there very, very beautifully. Is there something that you can add to that?
Well, we would say thank you. You are creating the pieces here, and you are playing the game of what it is to be human. And we are hoping that you come up with the game pieces, for you are understanding and the tools that are helping you in your personal life, for it will be different between the difference of all of you and how you are going to be able to do this within yourselves. And don't do it for anyone else, do it for strictly your own happiness.
Yeah.
I'd like to tell a quick little story, if I could. When I was visiting my mother in Paradise, I went out to breakfast with a friend, and there was a young man and his little girl who was maybe between 2 and 3 years old. And all during breakfast, I could see him, but I couldn't see her. I knew she was there, but I never made eye contact with her. And when they were finished and he went up to pay the bill, this little girl came over to me and put her arms out, and she wanted a hug.
Uh-huh.
And I had never, ever had anything like that happen to me. And I go,
Uh-huh.
I was blown away. And could you shed a little light on what she was
She needed hug.
feeling or thinking or needing? I mean, it was like, she didn't say a word to me. She just came out and put her arms out
Wow.
for a hug. And I was just, wow.
We would say that many times that as you are in your childlike state, you live in the moment, you live without the way the society has conditioned some of you in a way, and you live within this joyous moment. It's not always joyous, but you live within what it is that you are naturally drawn to. And so a hug is something, well, hugs are free, hugs are nice, and it is a warm greeting. And naturally, can you imagine what this world would be like if that were be the case? If people were to treat each other with a level of respect where it is one step a little bit above the normal.
Yeah.
Children
Everybody
can
just
teach
hugged.
us so much. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, we too, I think, as children, aren't stuck in beliefs that
Right.
we began to live out as an adult, which I think closes in the paradigm. The more beliefs that we build, I think we run from the polarity, whereas a child, we're more open to embracing it. It's almost like we've reversed what we came in with. As we get older to a point, we get stuck in a belief, and I think it closes in on us, and we struggle, we resist,
Yeah.
we fight more.
Children
I've
haven't
been
had
with-
that conditioned out of them.
I've been with people who are very close to dying, and what I've noticed is when you get close to dying, you go back.
Yeah.
I've seen
Move
people.
to my house.
So, well, she will. She will. One thing I wanted to ask, based on reading this Anastasia set of books, and she talks a lot about not just focusing on what you want, but she's talking a lot about imagery, about creating a very vivid, detailed image of what you do want, and then charging it with lots of emotion.
Charging it with lots of vibration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, there are many different ways, and we gave you a few tools. What will work differently, we say that is a great one. If you are truly wanting to align with something, one of your passions, visualize it. Yes, I think that would be a great grand scheme way to be able to align with that. And as much emotion as you can give that in the most positive way, don't make this we would say, a work sort of thing, a chore for you, but as a grand time to be in your creative mode and be able to start transmuting that field of energy, those possibilities that are coming through you and are being manipulated by this magnetic heart here, and you are changing much of this energy at the same time. As you are bringing these ideas and aligning yourselves with this, the possibilities will begin to open up to you, for you are connecting into the chaos of the universe for an idea to be able to work, and it begins to do just that. Your reflection becomes more real. You're beginning to work towards it, and it is that feeling that you have associated with that. Now, we will say that because many of you have feeling with money. Many of you have feeling with abundance. What does it mean to have this? What does it mean to have that? You have a mixed feeling. The more you can unmix that feeling, that belief structure that you have behind those things, it will begin to unlock what it is that you are not aligned to. There are divisions that are happening here, and as you're beginning to dissolve some of those things and to work through much of that within yourselves and the reasons why, for you have chosen some of these ways of being, your own set of where you are in society, whether you are middle class or rich or poor, you have set these conditions on yourselves, and many times even before you go into this life, it is a hum of energy that you carry with you. And why? Now you are deconstructing, you are taking the manual controls, and you are deciding what you would like to have. But that also includes embracing the responsibility of more, and what you are going to do with that. And that is also the understanding of why you have locked yourself in this sort of a grid, and how to be able to manipulate that now. It is also in some of the constructs of diseases and things, as it is passed down. It is the same sort of way. The vibration was so great that you have brought it as part of your DNA, and it is now being passed down to generation until it is also unlocked. Now this is the time to begin to unlock yourselves.
So are you kind of saying that it's a double-edged sword? Be careful if you learn to more consciously create your reality. Be careful, because if you really don't,
yes, you can use this.
On what you want, and you let them stray to what you don't want, you're going to get even more of what you don't want, right?
That's exactly, precisely. You can have a most miserable life as you would like to choose. And the universe will always answer to you.
Uh-huh. So in the past, we kind of had it on autopilot. It was always, the ability was there, but we just kind of set it so that we didn't really consciously understand that.
Consciously understand that, consciously even being aware. These messages that are happening here have always been, for instance, always have been available to humanity. It is just now that they are beginning to listen and have the ability to understand and be able to transition and process themselves into a new awareness that they can be able to be the creators, that they and step into the power that they have to transmute the energy. This is the time. This is what is happening here. You're not such the bubble of biology as you thought you were.
Much more.
So we have always created our own reality. We're just becoming aware that we can create it the way we want it to be.
Yes.
So do you see the direction that we're moving, even eliminating what we have done in the past and what we've done now, where we put ourselves in a class or we put others in a class? Do you see that coming together more as a full spectrum instead of a classification? A middle class, an upper class, a lower class?
Polarities, then.
Yeah. Do you see...
We look at it in terms of realities. There are going to be some that will continue the way they are, and they will simply be living a life that is going to be reflective of what they feel is their personal truth, and that our belief system may be that they aren't a subject of being a creator, but a subject of circumstance, a victim of circumstance, in a sense. And so they will be sort of pushed around a little bit in life, not really fully clear, but it is a journey that they would like to experience and have set up for themselves in many cases. And then there are going to be some that are going to be doing a very much different thing, where as they are getting more and more into the vibration that they would like to be and stand in their power, they will be noticed and very, very bright, as many of you see already. The very bright ones, the ones that you know stand in their own power, they are very significant. They shine quite brightly here. And they are doing much of what it is that they enjoy doing. And they feel, you look at them and you would say, oh wow, they are born to be doing what they're doing. They're very happy in what they are doing. And they're simply one human being that are more aligned with themselves. And you can see that. You can see and recognize that. You feel like they are getting their more fair share of things. Well, their reality is that they are just simply living more of what is congruent to their vibration into who they are. And that vibration is going to be another reality from that other person that does not feel that they are the creator of their circumstances. And so there are going to be somewhat of a dual reality that is happening here. That the more you are focused in this sort of way, even though the world may be having its own issues, you will not be experiencing those, before that is not part of your vibration to do so.
Well, so that really, wow, that even speaks to, for example, why, I mean, we have already said this, but it just didn't occur to me, why does it feel so bad to watch the news anymore for me? Yeah, well, wow, because...
It's not your vibration.
Yeah, it's like...
Well, I loved what they said, too. Now, let me ask you if I got this right, that you said... we are a creator of circumstances, but is that is the same as a victim of circumstances? Or are they on the same side of the pole?
It is a matter of perception. What the experience means to you, whether you take it as a victimized situation, that is, you are choosing that.
You're creating it.
And you are creating it, yes. Whether you are transmuting that energy into becoming something entirely different. For two people, yes, can see the same situation and feel a positive emotion about it or a negative one. Polarization are happening between these two different people.
So really, the opposite end or the polarity of that would just be simply understanding that I am the creator of my own victim.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you're a victim,
Yeah.
you feel you're a
accept the
victim, you
responsibility.
created that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the payoff for being a victim is that you're morally right.
Well, what we
Here's the good
understand,
news. No payoff.
what we understand from being a victim
there
too.
is. I mean,
No.
you're the good person.
The
bad
payoff,
person is the amoral person, right?
But there's
the
no-
payoff that we've learned. If we're a victim, it's not our fault.
Yeah,
Right.
We're
Yeah.
in the right,
Right.
but in a combination of that, we then relinquish all personal power.
Right.
Responsibility.
Right.
Yeah, we've given up our personal power.
So, let's see if I can get back to square one again. So we're in a reality that we have chosen, and if we wake up in the middle of that reality and realize that is not the reality we want, but it's a more of a pattern or a habit, in that moment, can we make the decision and discernment to step out of that reality by just seeing the good
Mm-hmm.
and the purpose?
Focusing on what you want, I think.
You are constantly having emotions on a daily basis. These emotions are the vibrations that you are putting out naturally. Whether it is an emotion of you are tired, or you are just simply fed up, or you are enjoying something very deeply, these are going to be emotions. And then you also have the things that are stored within your mind, these things that are happening in the background. You are processing a lot of information at once, and you have a small amount of emotions that are mixed feelings about all of those other things, creating the circumstances of reality that you are in. You are holding much of this energy here. You are very compacted in much of what it is that you are and the energy that you have been holding. When you wake up, you automatically begin to think, okay, this is who I am. This is my story I've been telling about myself. This is the way I am when I come to work. This is the way I am when I'm meeting these people. So you are putting yourself into a framework. What we want to see is you to become more loose with who you are. To step into a more powerful you. A you that is not so much of a story. A you that is more of a truthful part of who you are. The being that you are expanding into. And when you are stepping into that, then you are beginning to really understand much of the constructs that have created your reality from the beginning. And so these are vibrations that you are putting off on a constant basis. And all the multiple ways that you are thinking and looking at scenarios and the constructs. Yes, little ones have not really created much of this. And so the opportunities and the ways to expand, you look at the language as being understood within the first year. In many cases, they're beginning to absorb all these mannerisms and the way things are happening around them, all being taught, all different vibrations of this reality. And so there are ways of looking at what it is to be a human. And then there are ways of looking at what it is to be stepping into your own power, into the construct of what it is that you are, in the fullness of what it is that you are. As a powerful creating being, always doing that with every vibration, with every emotion that you are emitting. And yes, where you are setting yourself up is going to be the reflection that is going to continue to play.
I know one of my challenges on a daily basis. I'm just going to use it as an example that yesterday I had 5,040 thoughts. And waking up tomorrow not thinking about those 5,040 thoughts I had yesterday. I find it very easy for me to stay in my story and very tough to move forward, to be present. And I'm finding that to become an easier chore because I think it is what you've been talking about repeatedly, about raising conscious awareness of being present.
Yeah, in the now.
It's very tough not to think, to have the same thought today that we had yesterday. Mm-hmm. So we repeat this thing, and I think that's where it's even what they've talked about, a time loop, and we repeat and we learn from that. It's becoming more and more.
Can we wake up from that?
The what?
Can we wake up from that?
We are waking
Well, yes, we are waking up from that, and I think, well, I think this is what they're observing happening. Is that right?
In a sense, when you talk about waking up,
We're so connected.
We thought we were doing so good. Please elaborate.
no.
All right, blow us out of the water.
When you talk about waking up, if you were to truly wake up and the veil was completely deconstructed and you see what you can do and all that you are, and you were to move on,
Pack up and go home.
it's exactly it. The lights would go off and you would go home. The game is over.
Oh.
Ooh, we don't want that, do we?
Oh, we
we
don't
do
want
eventually.
that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Eventually, yes.
Yes, we want to go back
wow.
to there. So we're not supposed to figure it all out.
Oh, yes, we are.
You are figuring it out. It is the travel, the journey.
It's the journey, the expansion.
And it is who you are from this point of being a human in a very limited way, with a limited, seemingly, life span that you have. And to understand reality of what it is to be a very individual and be in this limited world. And what this world is. And what everything means around you. And it is this interesting way of expressing yourself and understanding yourself with these freedoms that you have on the plane of reality that is not one that is constructed like many others, where you have a plane of reality that is a different one in the sense that there is no set goal, no sense of direction. You are just sort of placed here, and you're just trying to figure out who you are. But you are also gaining your own spirituality to see if you can find your way back to what it is that you are, what it is to be you. Interesting thing to think about when you are a different you with a different circumstance, and you are a different you with a different set of people. For there are many differences of what it is that you are, and the story that you like to express yourself as in front of these around you. But be in mind and in your consciousness of really understanding what it is that you have come to be and what it is that you are wanting to be.
Love.
Yes, you are wanting to be that love. You are wanting to express that love on many ways that you would like to enjoy that love.
Yeah.
And so what it is that you love, that consciousness, that separation, that gap that is there, and what is stopping you in certain ways, what are you spinning your wheels at over here just to try to bring a new situation or a certain way of dealing with something? It may be to your demise of enjoying that love on a more constant basis. Yes, it is hard to focus on these things, and yes, your own patterns of how you are, your own attributes, your own habits that you have formed for yourself is creating the repeated patterns of what it is that you are now. And as you begin to change much of that, you are going to see that your reality rapidly change.
Do we need to slow down to go faster?
Sometimes. And sometimes you need to go faster to slow down.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when you said a moment ago, when we really grasp it and the game is over, have there been other cultures, other civilizations before us that have actually gotten that, and that's why their supposed game was over? That we maybe we're not aware about that have, or we're not aware of that have lived or existed on the planet here?
Yes, in a sense. In a sense, there has been some. But only in a sense.
Only in a sense. Could you speak more on that, or no?
There are different realms of realities that are taking place simultaneously, and yes, some will figure this out in a sort of way, but in a way you are becoming a victim, or you are just simply changing in and out of your form of energy. Take, for instance, a suicide. You are simply leaving the game. If you were to understand that you would truly feel love and the things that would be okay, and you do not fear death, you are taking yourself out of this game of reality. And yes, this reality can be a hard one from the point of view of a human perspective, and for us to be watching the human perspective, because you have so many limitations that you're always up against. We see many times you're up against a wall time after time, and yet you are still pressing through and stumbling through and past many different situations. Many times we see that when you could be turning right and your guides are trying to help you to turn right, you're always turning left.
Oh, yeah.
You're being led away in certain ways, and it is okay. This is all right. This is part of reality here. But you're also finding yourselves again. And you are finding these situations and these synchronicities and the things that are going to bring more of the vibrations of who you are. You're always expanding. No matter if you could take that left turn or not, you are understanding yourself in a deeper sense of what it is that you do not want, maybe, or expressing or continuing this idea and bringing on more of what it is in the reality of what you would like to become through this limited way of looking at things. You have a more unlimited way to be able to tread on if you so go into that direction. It does take a way to be able to allow the energy and be able to process this energy, and the master will always understand how the energy can be used to serve him.
And that's not a selfish thing.
No. It is not a selfish thing, because when you are standing in your own power of who you are a much more greater service than any of those other humans that are not in that sort of life form. And we don't say humans, it's all beings that are in this sort of this funk.
All beings, huh?
Yes.
All beings that are not aligned with themselves. One being standing in his power, standing in what it is that he would like to be, is in a greater service.
And that happens on all the dimensions, is what you're saying. There's beings who are in their path, and there's beings who aren't, no matter what dimension it is, right? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily, no.
Oh.
For there are some that never quite find that way, and there are some that are very collectively have found that way and are resonating and are supporting each other in a great way, in that exact way.
I'm taking it that the society that you live in, they have gotten that. They are a collective that understands and does see the greatness in one another.
Yes. Each of you are an individual and a master at one thing that is better than any other person that is around, any other being. You hold that particular key. And yet many times you see yourselves, oh, I can't express that. What is there that I can possibly give? For it has been given in so many other forms already. How is it that I can do something unique? And that is why you are here, and you express this part of your vibration, your light, your flavor on this reality. For you have something very exciting, and you are supported by the whole when you are expressing and standing in that power. That is what becomes that strong cord of what it is that you are.
I know that we can feel that when we're doing it too. I think what we as humans struggle with is when we're not let's say when we're not doing what we do well, when we walk away from that and we go home, or we go step out of the limelight, so to speak. It's a very difficult thing to deal with.
You know when you are heading towards it, and you also know when you are not. For the feelings that are within your heart will be telling you exactly how close you are moving towards something and progressing towards something. For that is something that all beings are wanting, is the idea that they are progressing. They are naturally bringing themselves to a better place. The idea is that you are feeling yourself to this way of being. You know when something feels well within yourself, when you feel this joy in the thoughts of maybe you are not this, but in the thoughts that you would like to be this, you are that. Then you begin to create circumstances and realities that begin to align with that. The more you keep allowing these feelings to flow through, you are opening yourself the energy gates, the portal, to bring yourself to these things. It's a natural chasm of all life forms to do this very thing.
Is that something we should acknowledge? Seems like if I can get that feeling and grasp it, and then I can share it with somebody and say, look, I got it. And not so much as, to be egotistical, but more so that to ground it in myself. Is that how the process actually helps one to move forward when you're just grasping onto light? It just goes through your hand so fast that if you don't really get it and ground it in you, it seems like you just keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Naturally, the process would be that others do see what it is that you are doing, and they will want to know how you are doing it. For you seem like you are getting your more fair share out of life. And this is the dual reality that is happening. And the more that people can see that they are in charge in being the creative part of themselves in reality, the more that this is beginning to be an understanding of what the new myth of what God is, the new myth of what the being a creating process is, and to master yourself in this way, and to become who it is and what it is that you would like to stand forth and to be in this light body of who you are. When people see that you are getting more, they may have also alternating thoughts that think that you shouldn't be having your experiences then, or that you have been born with this silver spoon in your mouth, or whatever the circumstance may be. They are seeing you with their own conditions and filters of what it is and belief systems that make it so it matches what they think.
But we don't own that. That's not ours to own.
That's where the dual reality is. Yes, you do not own quite the same idea.
I mean, whatever's going on for them, we don't own their stuff. That's
Right.
their thing.
That's right.
That's right. In a sense. But you are aligned up with the vibration if you're witnessing this.
Oh.
You are understanding
Okay.
the
All
correlation of what it is that you are. For this is another mirror.
So that where you bring it back into yourself, and again, it's an evolutionary process within yourself. It's, oh, I get it. It's more of an aha moment rather than, beating yourself up moment. That you didn't do it bigger or better or whatever. Instead, it's going, oh my God, I have accomplished something. Small little tiny.
I'm getting it.
Yeah, in small little increments.
I don't know whether it's small. Sometimes I feel like those ahas and it's big.
Some of them are big, yeah.
Those could be major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I like the idea that it's us being in, our vibrations being in alignment with whatever we want to call it, the all that is, or the source energy, or God, or whatever it is.
Can you talk a little bit about reward? It just came into my thought that part of my situation is always that I'm looking for the reward. If I've done something, shouldn't I have some value that goes with that? How does that really work?
Again, this is your own perception of what is reality for you. Your rewards are going to be reflective of what it is that your rewards are within yourself. If you feel like you are aligned to this reward, you will be this reward. If this is the dominant vibration of what it is that you are putting out, a soul, a true vibration to it, then the reward would be as such as that you would have more of this occurring like that which you have within yourself, and that alignment will be that way. It is the rewards that you would get for being different vibrations of who you are. It's the reward that you would get from understanding your correlation with all that there is that you are experiencing and dabbling in. And some of those rewards, if you feel are negative, then you will be getting those negative rewards in those same ways. For you are just aligning yourself. So putting yourself in all the situations and scenarios, allow yourself this idea of understanding what it is that you are getting out of it. What it is that is bringing you closer to what that is, that joy is, if that is your reward that you would like to have above all. And truly, what is abundance without that? What is abundance without those passions that you have within yourselves to be? So understanding the correlation of what it is, if you know that you're going to be going into doing something that just does not feel like you will be rewarded so well, then do not keep playing in those same ways that you are doing with that. Let some of those things start to fall away as new things are being brought out. And as you see these new things coming in your foreground, look at those and reevaluate those. Is that something I would like to have as a reward? Is that something that feels good to me? And if not, just keep peeling away like an onion who it is, what it is, the circumstance that you would like to be, until you come down to the core of what it is that you are. And that will be becoming the true more you, the real power of the sense of what it is that you would like to have as your particular base of life.
And that's the reward we're really after. To be our true
That
self.
reward that you are truly after is only going to be what you feel that reward is going to be for you. That you are truly after it, which is going to be a slightly different reward for everyone else. For you all are somewhat different beings, here to gain a different experience of what it is that this life is rewarding about. For some it could be terrifying for a reward of flying and enjoying the idea of flying. As another would have a different reward that would be utterly boring to someone else. But these rewards are rewarding for the individual, for that is the vibration that they would like to be and stand and become most of.
Can you help anyone else, or is everybody pretty much on their own? I mean, is it something that you could...
Help is only allowed if it is wanted.
Right. Okay. If somebody doesn't want it, or doesn't really have any desire for it,
Then no matter how hard you try, it doesn't work anyway. Right?
In a sense, it is only when they are open to the idea and being aligned to somewhat of those vibrations that they, or an interest, or whatever that might be in the constructs of the many ways that help can be offered in certain ways, whether it is by directly taking them and being a mentor, or if it is just simply you are living your life and you have already passed away and they are examining what it is that you have done. It is simply the ways that they are allowing that vibration of who you are into their reality and how much they are willing to take on that. What feels congruent to one being to another may be entirely different, which creates a different reality for all. So it is not, again, we would say, up to you to always be helping. As long as people are here wanting the help, you will always have the people there accepting the help that is there.
but you're not responsible if they take it or they don't take it.
No, you're responsible for your own being and who you are. And it is responsible of you to be able to help those around you, to help them be able to step up, to lend a hand.
Well, I mean, that's what you're trying to do right now. You're trying to help us a little bit, right?
Yes, because it is part of all there is. You are connected to everything vibrationally. The past and the future are connected. And you are part of this past, this idea, this whole of all there is. You have your own waves of vibration, the own who you are. You're in a sense working on your futures now in a deeper sense of the futures that you would ever think, as you are also working on your past and transmuting the energies of much of the cosmos around you.
Well, we do appreciate it. We are very open, and it's even in the future, these times that we get together, if there's something that you can instrumentally, some food that you can give to us to actually access some more, we're very open to it.
Well, wisdom, the light that is around here, the consciousness that is here is a way to feast. And as you are taking that on, you can actually transmute much of the energy. Wouldn't that be an interesting idea already? To feast on much of this and how much weight you could lose, understanding and transmuting energy, for it is always flowing and moving through. And we're not suggesting to do this instantaneously, but this is a form of energy that can be used in fulfilling yourself, rejuvenating yourself. It has been a great pleasure to be amongst you all. Do reevaluate the habits that have been in your life. Be in the moment of what it is that you are. Embrace and bask in appreciation.
Thank you.
It's been
Peel those layers away and become the core of who you are. It has been a pleasure.
It's been an honor.
So it is.
So it is.
Thank you.